This is my first real look at a pair of 1960s mid-century modern painted dressers I picked up on Facebook Marketplace for $200, sight unseen. The seller told me she found them while cleaning out a house that had just gone up for sale, and before I headed home, she said this: "I sure hope you're planning to restore these back to original." I told her I'd do my best, and now that they're home, I'm hoping that's possible. Beneath the layers of thick paint, the dents, and whatever else time has done to them, there might still be a beautiful set of mid-century walnut dressers worth saving. So today in my workshop, I'm starting with the 5-drawer tall boy. There are no guarantees or promises, just curiosity and perhaps a stubborn belief that there's still something worth restoring under all this paint. My name is Barry, and it's good to be with you again. I didn't find any maker's mark on this dresser, no logo, no label, but I can tell right away that these are well-built pieces from the mid-century era. One discovery on this piece may, however, offer a clue as to who the furniture maker was. I labeled the bottoms of the drawers in case they are, in fact, in order, and having refinished many furniture pieces like this, I have a good idea what wood species is hiding underneath all this paint, so there's no wasting time. I'll jump right into brushing on a paint remover, and I'm sure some of you have already seen what may be the most difficult part of this step. As you'll see, there is strong evidence that this paint was brushed on, so I'm most grateful that there is no overspray on the dovetail joints. Scraping the paint with a metal scraper works much better than a plastic scraper. I just need to go slow and be careful not to slip and gouge the thin veneer. I also need to be aware of any damaged areas where the tools or the steel wool could catch. What's left of the paint and chemicals can be scrubbed off with No. 2 steel wool, this afterwash product, and some shop towels. I wish I could say the paint removal went as well on the drawer fronts, but it did not, so I just applied a second coat of paint remover. From the moment I saw these solid wood drawer pulls, I dreaded removing the paint from the insides, and although there were 2 screws holding these on from the back side, these also appear to be glued in from the factory. Some of the drawer fronts are now stripped of paint, and while a second coat of stripper is setting up on the others, I'll move on to removing the paint from the sides of the dresser body. I often enjoy these moments working in solitude, but if you are ever in the area, I'd gladly welcome you into my workshop. I'm not sure what parts were more frustrating to remove the paint, the insides of the drawer pulls, or this solid wood base. I've removed a lot of paint from old furniture over the years, and when everything goes as planned, this is the moment I'm hoping for, when the paint releases cleanly and peels away in large sections. I did try to identify the maker of this piece when I first brought it home, but was not able to. This is purely speculation, but I remember restoring a Broyhill Forward 70s double dresser from their Premier line, and these legs look to be very similar in design. The Premier line was much nicer and included steel drawer slides with ball bearings, solid brass drawer pulls, as well as other upgrades. It's my understanding that many larger furniture companies manufactured cheaper lines of furniture and often did not put their name on them. I'm grateful to continue my long-term partnership with Lasfit, making these videos possible. Lasfit makes quality, affordable floor mats and bed liners, as well as other aftermarket products for hundreds of vehicle makes and models. I put a lot of miles on my vehicles, hunting down vintage furniture, and here in Wisconsin, it's important to protect my vehicles from rain, mud, snow, and salt. This can quickly destroy the upholstery in my vehicles, and for me it's becoming more important to find ways to protect my investments. I've been using Lasfit's all-weather floor mats and bed liner for several months, and I love them. Lasfit's mats are precision fit, laser measured for your exact vehicle, and they're made from a tough, flexible TPE material that's not only flexible, but easy to remove when it's time to clean them. A quick rinse and they look brand new again. The anti-skid surface keeps my cargo from moving around during transport, and the soft touch material helps prevent additional scratches and dents to the furniture. Compared to WeatherTech, I found that the Lasfit mats are thicker and feel more durable under my feet. Most importantly, I've noticed less slipping and more control. Lasfit floor mats are often praised for their balance of quality and affordability, making them a strong competitor to the more established WeatherTech brand. Check out the link in the video description, or visit lasfit.com to see if Lasfit offers floor mats or bed liners for your vehicle. You can use code MCM20 for 20% off your purchase, and thank you Lasfit for continuing to support my channel. Here's a quick look at some of the sanding supplies I'll use for this project. I often intentionally leave the paint on some of these smaller areas. It's much easier to use the carbide scrapers to remove the paint, and it cuts down on time and chemical waste. There are three main steps during the sanding process. For the first pass, I'll use 150 grit sandpaper on the Surf Prep 3x4 electric sander. The shape makes sanding many of the detailed areas much easier. Once I've sanded an area with 150 grit, I'll use a 150 grit sanding sponge to sand inside the drawer pulls, as well as all the edges. I'll finish sanding with 220 grit using various sanding tools as necessary. The drawer fronts are now all sanded and appear to be in proper order, so I'll move on to sanding the body of the dresser. It's common to find areas where the old lacquer remains, and this could easily gum up the sandpaper, so I'll scrape this off with a carbide scraper. Before I sand over the damaged area on the side where the veneer is missing, I'll patch it with a 2-part epoxy filler. A little wax wash remover will help slow down the dry time as I apply the filler with a palette knife. As I kept sanding, the truth behind the worry that's been sitting in the back of my mind for weeks finally started to surface. Can you guess what it is? I'm running out of time, and this time, the problem that's just around the corner actually has nothing to do with the furniture piece itself. In many ways, this dresser, covered in beautiful walnut veneer, could be considered a basic model, but I do like the design choice for the base. The subtle separation makes the body of the dresser appear as if it's floating. This will, however, involve a little more effort to sand appropriately. Once the epoxy filler has dried, I'll sand it back all the way to 320 grit. This will help eliminate any tiny air bubbles and will keep the stain from absorbing unevenly. There was one very small repair I also made to the front of one drawer. These foam sanding pads on the Surf Prep sander help sand the detailed areas without altering the profile. I'll remove the sliders to sand away the paint from the feet. The other tacks on the sliders were rusty, so I'll add new ones when the project is finished. I do my best to gently sand every part of an old furniture piece to give it a fresh, clean start. This is also a good opportunity to tighten all the screws that help secure the base. It's common for these pieces to be made using an MDF substrate covered with a thin veneer, and for the trim pieces to be made from a lighter, solid ash, or perhaps a fruit wood. That's why we see a stark contrast between the walnut and the ash. Finish choices will always differ, and for this dresser, I had hoped to just apply a clear coat to keep the stark contrast, but when refinishing furniture that's already had color lacquer applied from the factory, the lighter ash can often appear dirty, no matter how much you sand it back. So I'll apply a light walnut colored oil-based stain to help conceal what remains from the factory finishes. I'll finish staining the rest of the dresser and let it dry for several hours, so this is your last chance to guess what problem lies ahead, and I'll give you one hint: Wisconsin. I'm sure some of you guessed 39 degrees with snow in the forecast in 1 minute. If I'm fortunate enough to look back on this video 30 or 40 years from now, maybe my children will smile hearing what life was like on this exact day, what the weather felt like, and what season we were in.
You playing the snow?
So I'm taking a moment to soak it all in, because as strange as it sounds, one of us here has never seen snow, and that's worth remembering. What this means is, I can no longer spray lacquer finishes outdoors, and I desperately need a temporary solution. This spray tent arrived just minutes ago, and I'm hoping it will help reduce overspray in the workshop. The best solution? No, but I think I can work with it for now. The workshop is insulated, and with an industrial heater, I can consistently keep the temperature between 60 to 70 degrees. As I spray on the first coat of lacquer sealer, I'm going to share with you what I think this dresser is worth once refinished. But first I want to say this. As a full-time content creator, I don't believe in the luck of the algorithm. I believe in making the best content possible for my viewers. When a new restoration video is released, it's first shown to you, the subscriber, And if more subscribers click on the video and watch for a longer period of time, YouTube then pushes my videos out to a wider audience. So if you've been here for a while, watching these old pieces come back to life, and maybe even finding a little peace or inspiration along the way, I just want to say thank you. This channel has grown because of people like you who keep showing up, commenting, and making this feel like more than just a restoration video. It feels like a community. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be truly grateful if you'd take a moment to do that if you feel I've deserved it. It costs nothing, but it makes a real difference in helping me keep rescuing these forgotten pieces, telling their stories, and hopefully bringing a little warmth into your day. Your support means more than you know. Once the color matching is done, I can spray on a second coat of sealer with a little dye stain this time. But this is not a dust-free environment, so I'll gently sand the sealer with a 320 grit sanding pad, then clean the surface with wax wash remover and a cotton cloth. I paid $200 for these two dressers, so essentially this dresser cost me $100. Refinishing furniture for a profit is not always my priority, but for furniture pieces I don't intend to keep, I must be mindful of running a successful business. Based on my own sales receipts in this area, I would expect this mid-century dresser, once refinished, to sell for between $700 to $800. For the last coat, I'll spray on this Finisher's Choice clear satin lacquer. Looking back, the satin sheen is a bit too glossy for my liking, but overall, I'm pleased with this transformation. My name is Barry. I appreciate you joining me today. November is packed full of restoration projects, so I'll see you soon. Goodbye for now.